February 22nd, 2022, a cold, quiet Tuesday evening. But as the sun began to set over the buzzing Leidseplein in Amsterdam, a place usually defined by tourists, trams, and terrace cafes, the atmosphere shifted into something far more sinister. Just past 5:30 p.m., a 27-year-old man, armed and dressed in full camouflage gear, entered the Apple store and shattered the peace in an instant. His mission? To hold a hostage at gunpoint in exchange for 200 million euros in cryptocurrency and a guaranteed escape route. But nothing would go according to plan. The scene was eerily cinematic, only it wasn't fiction. And now, Netflix's I, Hostage, directed by Bobby Bormans, brings this surreal and shocking event to the screen. But even Bormans himself could never have predicted how close this story would hit home. I live nearby, Bormans reveals. I remember walking past shortly after the standoff ended. The area was cordoned off, completely still. There were bullet holes in the glass, a weird, haunting silence. That image burned into my mind. This wasn't just a robbery. This wasn't just a man with a gun. It was a carefully orchestrated cry for attention in one of Europe's safest countries. And it exposed vulnerabilities the Dutch public never imagined they'd see up close. While hostage situations are incredibly rare in the Netherlands, this one played out in one of its most public locations, and at a brand synonymous with tranquility and sleek design, Apple. There's something disturbingly symbolic about it, Bormans explains. The Apple Store represents modernity, order, calm, and suddenly it became a stage for chaos and fear. The incident unraveled live across social media, and for nearly 5 hours, a city, and eventually, a nation, was held in suspense. It began like any ordinary evening in Amsterdam's bustling Leidseplein. The Apple Store, always alive with customers and staff, was just winding down its day when the unthinkable happened. Just minutes after stepping through the front doors, a man armed with a pistol and a semi-automatic rifle pulled out his weapon and seized a 44-year-old Bulgarian customer as a hostage. Panic erupted instantly. Shoppers fled to the back of the store, desperately searching for hiding spots. Upstairs, office workers locked doors and held their breath, trapped behind walls of glass with nowhere to run. Within 10 minutes, the first police units arrived. 4 gunshots rang out. No one knew yet whether the shots had struck anyone, or whether they were warning shots. Outside, tension thickened as the threat of explosives loomed. There were rumors the hostage taker was wearing a bomb vest. Dutch special forces were called in. Ambulances lined the streets. Surrounding shops were locked down. Inside the Apple Store, more than 70 people were hiding. For hours, many didn't know if they would make it out alive. The world outside began watching in real time. Videos surfaced online, some posted directly by the gunman himself. He took selfies with the hostage and sent them out as digital proof of his control. Photos from inside the store leaked. Media outlets scrambled to cover the unfolding crisis. Then came his demand. 200 million euros, not in cash, but in cryptocurrency. In return, he promised to release the hostage and walk away peacefully. His motives, however, remained a mystery. As news spread, one man was already speeding across the country to join the response. Known only as Supervisor G, a seasoned operator with the elite Dutch intervention forces, he had just finished a quiet day shift when the emergency call came in. He drove over 100 kilometers to reach the staging area in Amsterdam. It was 5:45 p.m. when the incident was first reported. By the time G arrived, the situation had escalated significantly. The hostage taker was heavily armed, with one man directly in his grip and 4 others reportedly hiding elsewhere in the building. The mission: to prepare for a possible tactical entry. G's role was clear. As deputy team leader of a unit within the Dienst Speciaal Interventies, DSI, he coordinated equipment checks, ballistic shields, firearms, breaching tools, and distributed tasks to his operators. Another intervention team stood ready to breach if necessary. G's team focused on a more controlled, tactical approach. Using intelligence gathered on site, the team crafted their plan. The gunman remained close to his hostage, while others were locked away in a storage room. G's unit chose to enter the building through a rear stairwell, avoiding detection. Inside, they reached a warehouse with 2 possible routes to the main store floor. One a direct corridor, the other leading to a mezzanine that overlooked the area. From the mezzanine, they could monitor the situation in real time, waiting for the right moment to act. The teams split, positioning themselves at both potential entry points. Meanwhile, snipers were stationed around the building. The old structure, once a bank, had thick windows that made visibility difficult. Coordination was key. G maintained communication with other units, adapting their plans as new information came in. Despite years of high-risk operations under his belt, G admitted this one felt different. the uncertainty about explosives added an extra layer of danger. Even entering the stairwell could have triggered something, he later said. We knew it could get very tricky. Back inside the store, the hours dragged on. Tension mounted with every passing minute. As the clock ticked toward 10:30 p.m., nearly 5 hours into the ordeal, the hostage-taker made a request: water. It seemed simple, but negotiators knew it could be a turning point. They agreed, sending in a robot carrying a bottle toward the store's entrance. It was the break they needed. As the hostage walked to retrieve the water, he suddenly bolted, sprinting toward the doors with everything he had. He ran for his life, risking it all in a single, desperate move. The gunman didn't hesitate. He gave chase, running right behind him. Outside, waiting officers had been watching closely. A DSI vehicle, already in position, accelerated. In one swift, shocking moment, it struck the suspect with brutal force. He crumpled to the ground, unconscious. The entire event was captured on video. Within minutes, the footage was viral. Special forces swarmed the store. With the suspect down, G's team moved in. One group through the mezzanine, the other via the stairwell. They cleared each room methodically, weapons at the ready. In a stair cupboard, they found the remaining 4 hostages, alive, frightened, safe. I'll never forget their faces, G recalled, the fear in their eyes, and then the relief. That moment when they realized it was over. The suspect, who turned out not to be wearing any explosives, was rushed to the hospital. He died from his injuries shortly after. For G and his fellow operators, the mission was a success in the most important way. No hostages were killed. It was a complex situation, G said. Snipers, drones, negotiators, even a robot. All of it came together. This is what we trained for. But there's no glory in it, he insists. We're proud of what we did, but it's not something I often talk about. In the aftermath, the method of ending the hostage situation became one of the most debated topics in the country. While many praised the special forces for their decisive action that potentially saved lives, others raised concerns about the use of lethal force. The way the police ended it with a car was absolutely unique. It triggered a massive discussion nationwide, Borman says. Was it justified? Was it excessive? Or was it simply the only choice in a moment of real danger? An official investigation later ruled that the officer who struck the suspect acted lawfully. The case was closed, but for many, the psychological impact remained. In the days that followed, more details emerged. The perpetrator was identified as Abdel Rahman Akkad, a 27-year-old Amsterdam local with a history of criminal behavior and prior encounters with law enforcement. Akkad had previously faced charges for illegal weapons possession and harassment, including a restraining order involving a former partner. Despite these red flags, he remained at large until the events of February 22nd catapulted him into national infamy. His lawyer, Jan Kees van den Brink, later spoke to the press on behalf of Akkad's mother, saying she had hired him immediately after the incident. There's a deeper issue here, Bormans reflects. This wasn't just a criminal. This was someone clearly struggling, someone who might have needed help before resorting to something so extreme. Indeed, one of the core themes iHostage explores is the link between overlooked mental health issues and explosive acts of violence. So many people are falling through the cracks, Bormans warns. We see the signs: poverty, mental instability, social alienation, but the systems in place aren't catching them before tragedy strikes. The director hopes the film not only entertains but provokes necessary dialogue. I want this movie to leave you thinking, not just about what happened, but why it happened, and how we can stop it from happening again. To build the emotional foundation of the film, Bormans and his team conducted interviews with Apple Store staff, bystanders, law enforcement officers, and negotiators involved in the real operation. There was one thread in all their stories: resilience. People stepped up, protected each other, stayed calm under impossible circumstances. That spirit forms the backbone of iHostage. The thriller walks a tightrope between nail-biting suspense and emotional depth. We want people to be gripped, but also to feel, to understand the fear, the trauma, the unexpected strength people can summon in crisis. Bormans is clear. iHostage is not a documentary. This is a dramatization, he says. But the core of the story, that's real. The fear, the danger, the heroism, it all happened. We've just shaped it into something that also works on screen. The film doesn't shy away from ethical gray zones either. It invites viewers to ask hard questions about policing, about violence, about desperation, and about how societies fail those who need help the most. For Amsterdam, the Apple Store incident was a jolt to the system, a reminder that even in one of Europe's safest, most progressive cities, darkness can seep in, that the balance between safety and chaos is more fragile than most care to admit. And for the rest of the world, Eye Hostage offers a glimpse into a chilling moment when technology, desperation, and modern anxieties collided in one unforgettable night. This wasn't just about one man, Bormans concludes. It was about a system, a society, and what happens when someone feels they've run out of options. I hope this film is both a tribute to the people who lived through it and a warning to all of us. As the credits roll and viewers process what they've seen, one question lingers long after the screen goes black. How many more ticking time bombs are hiding in plain sight? Let us know in the comments down below, and make sure to like and subscribe.